the IT quarter of Almaty, startups presented their projects to potential investors. This is one of the important stages of the Startup Kazakhstan 2018 program, since the main task of the acceleration platform is to provide a safety cushion for beginning businessmen, meaning to provide them with initial investments so that companies could develop and make their first sales. We see more than 15 corporations that have shown interest in innovative developments. These are representatives of the mining and metallurgical complex and the banking sector and more traditional areas, such as retail, who would like us to use solutions that startups present. More than 20 startups who were selected by Tech Garden mentors demonstrated their projects. They acted in 8 directions such as smart city, fintech, retail, logistics, educational technology, telecom, and Industry 4.0. The latter category includes eco-platform Koktiam 2. This is a conservation complex for environmental design and regulation, which in itself combines a certain number of modules, a lot of them starting with the atmosphere and ending with environmental monitoring. Thanks to this program, enterprises can control the concentration of harmful substances in the atmosphere and, in the event of their release, respond promptly to leakage. Thus, it is possible to prevent major technological disasters. Another startup, ranobibuk.com, is also to some extent eco-friendly. This is a website for selling e-books. If you are an author, then you publish with us and learn from it. If you are a translator and know, for example, Chinese, you can negotiate with Chinese publishers and publish ready-made projects with us. At the same time, if a young author shows that his book is for sale, then we help him to publish it. In 2018, 500,000 books were sold on the portal. In 2019, the founders plan to launch a mobile application that will double the sales. Game of Drones is another project presented to investors that deserves attention. This is a multiplayer cross-platform online game where players from different parts of the world can compete with each other in the management of ground and air drones. At the same time, all quadrocopters will be located on real arenas in Kazakhstan. The market capacity in the direction is quite large. In 2017, people spent $109 billion on computer games worldwide. Of these, in Kazakhstan, $220 million. And this proves that the market is large and we can occupy our niche in it. According to mentors of the Startup Kazakhstan program, investments are not a grant and not free money. Attracting them, entrepreneurs let a co-owner into the company. Therefore, you should be attractive to the reputation and experience of investors. IBM buys software developer Red Hat for $34 billion. The parties have already reached a final agreement, under the terms of which the cooperation will acquire all the issued shares of a startup at the price of $190 per share. After closing the deal, Red Hat will become part of the hybrid cloud, a specialized division of the American corporation. And the head of the project, Jim Whitehurst, will become a board member of IBM and will report directly to the chairman of the board of directors and the president of the corporation. Uber raised $2 billion in anticipation of its IPO, which is scheduled for the beginning of next year. According to the estimates of investment banks Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs, the cost of a company developing a taxi service is $120 billion US. Analysts predict that the deployment of Uber technologies could be the largest in the American technology sector over the past few years. 2018 for the startup industry of Kazakhstan as a whole turned out to be favorable. Experts note that there are not only the quantitative growth of projects, but also qualitative. There are 2 investment transactions, Rakhmet's cashback service and a platform for analyzing documents, Kozar. Both attracted $1 million each. After analyzing such events, we decided to choose 3 domestic companies that, in our opinion, did the greatest amount of work this year. First on the list of the best Kazakhstan startups, in our opinion, is a fourth-generation Wi-Fi router, Nomi. On the site of Indiegogo, the gadget developers collected $102,000, which made this crowdfunding campaign the most successful in the history of domestic startups. The funds were spent on expanding the company's staff, on promotion in social networks, and also on preparing to scale the business in those countries from which the most pre-orders were made. Now, our task is, indeed, to deliver all of these orders on time, to comply with all delivery times, to communicate correctly with those customers who have made pre-orders with us. Plus, we are very much looking for scaling our business at the market of Southeast Asia now, and want to find partners and potential investors there, and also to place our company as legal entity in Singapore or Malaysia. During the Expo 2017 in Astana, the first domestic capsule hotel was launched. It is not by chance that it took the second place in our rating. A new type of business always involves many risks, especially when it comes to big investments. The founder of the capsule hotel invested in the hotel 28 million tenge. Of these, only 30% went directly to the assembly of capsules. The remaining funds were spent on engineering infrastructure.
Основная, если можно сказать, модель клиента – это сейчас почти 50 на 50 мужчины и женщины.
The main client model is almost 50-50 men and women, aged somewhere around 25 to 27 years old. As a rule, these are young professionals. We also have a lot of tourists. If we talk about foreigners, they're mainly backpackers who simply came to Kazakhstan without any specific plan.
Которые просто в Казахстан заезжают и катаются по стране, у них нет конкретного плана.
Ergodome is a third startup that completes the list of the best. As part of this straw house building technology project, 2 3-story townhouses with an area of 2,300 square meters were built. Each of them is divided into 3 apartments with a separate entrance. The total investment spent on their construction is $4.5 million. The main indicators of the Ergodome, how it differs in general from other houses, the fact that 90% of all building materials that were used are of organic origin. That is, it is a wood, straw, clay, sand, water, reeds, and natural stone. Dozens of new startuppers appear in Kazakhstan every day. Not all of them will be successful and will be recognized at home or abroad. There are also a lot of unrealized ideas behind the shoulders of these participants of our rating and in some respects even failures. But they were an important step towards their success story, which will undoubtedly happen to those who never retreat and achieve their goals in spite of all difficulties. Bakht Shamrikanov is an entrepreneur and financial consultant, a member of the Association of Certified Accountants.
Современная жизнь имеет множество особенностей. Поразительные технологические достижения привели к настоящему.
Modern life has many features. Astonishing technological change led to a real information explosion. A person has a lot more choices in almost all areas of activity. The volume of knowledge has increased significantly, so we must somehow adapt to this advantage of change and alternatives. In such conditions, the ability to quickly make the right decision is of particular importance. Robert Cialdini, The Psychology of Influence. There are a lot of examples about how our brain works and that we automatically make decisions. One such example that I remember is the insidious sincerity and the rules of mutual exchange. Insidious sincerity, when you disarm and speak about the shortcomings of your products and thus inspire confidence in your potential client. By exposing your shortcomings, you simultaneously show your strengths. The rule of mutual exchange is an old method that is used when you make a client a small gift and he feels a sense of duty. He has to do something in return, at least to devote his time or attention. And it works because people all have the same thinking mechanisms. Therefore, meeting with a potential client, you can bring a small gift.
Поэтому всегда, встречаясь с потенциальным клиентом, можно сделать небольшой подарок.
Recently, the final hackathon of 2018 was held in Almaty as part of the large-scale Data Science Hub project, which was launched by the MOCT Business Incubator. This project aims to develop the capacity of universities to collect and analyze data from various sources. In this regard, among the mandatory conditions for participation in the hackathon is working with big data. That is, UNICEF Kazakhstan provided access to its database. The same organization set 2 tasks for the participants: to solve the problem of vaccination of children and also to offer options to combat child poverty.
Задача ребят была в том, чтобы
The task of students was to consider these problems, put forward a hypothesis, process the data, and develop a technical solution that would help solve the problem to some extent. It should be noted that the guys did a great job. They went through many sources of information, besides those that we provided.
они привлекали очень много источников информации, очень много источников данных, помимо тех, что мы предоставили.
Among the winners of the competition was the Karmet project, a cross-platform application for charity. The service will help streamline the collection of funds for the treatment of children whose parents are unable to resolve this issue on their own. Everyone knows volunteers, representatives of charitable foundations who walk the streets and collect money. People do not always treat them with confidence because it is likely that this money will not reach the addressee. In the case of our application, it will be immediately visible where the money was invested and how it was spent. Startuppers from the Stradigo Egos visual team chose a different UNICEF topic for research. They have developed a tool for making strategic decisions on vaccination of children. Such system will be of interest to universities and pharmaceutical companies. The functional part is an automated analysis and visualization of the received reports through the application. That is, there you can enter any data, upload files, and get graphs that explain in detail what does a particular set of numbers mean. According to the organizers of the competition, conducting a hackathon related to an important social mission is a good opportunity to attract talented specialists in order to come up with and implement new methods for solving old problems.
Сегодня победили все, потому что для кого-то это стало открытием.
Today, everyone won, because for someone, it was a discovery to look at these problems. For someone, it was an opportunity to raise and recall their own childhood experiences and to try to solve a problem they may have encountered in childhood. The more young people ask such questions, the more opportunities we have to talk about government policy in the interest of children.
У нас возможность говорить о политике, государственной политике в интересах детей.
The total prize fund of the competition was 1 million tenge, but money, as they say, is not the main thing. Hackathon is first and foremost an opportunity to test yourself and learn to speak to the public. And on the second, networking, which helps to find new contacts and build useful connections. In Kazakhstan, we launched a new mobile application for searching, books, and delivering food, myplace.kz. The service allows you to make an order remotely and without a call. It is enough to make just a couple of clicks, and the administrator of the institution will accept the reservation. The system collects the most important selection criteria. The algorithm compares the institution's rating with its discounts and displays it in the top, and also shows the location on the map, comments, and menu. Startup Home Fix plans to digitize repairs in Kazakhstan's houses and apartments. In fact, it will look like this. The user wears VR glasses, visits the site designer, and, moving around the apartment, sees what his repair will look like. Here, on the portal will be placed a calculator to calculate the cost of repairs. And if the client is not satisfied with the price or one of the proposed construction materials, he can choose something else, and the calculator will automatically recalculate the final estimate.